Welcome to Make Your Mark podcast, where guests share their experiences, insights, and tactics to help you accelerate your business. So building, scaling, and monetizing your business is made easier. And I will be your host, Kay Suthar. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Make Your Mark podcast. Now, I have an awesome guest for you today. His name is JJ Reynolds from Vision Labs. He started working in the field of marketing as a videographer who would create marketing videos and assets, but he quickly learned that organizations really didn't know what to do with these assets once they were created. Now he focuses on assisting businesses in measuring and acting on their marketing data, understand that being online takes a lot of work, so he helps eliminate the guesswork. Now we're going to be getting into a lot more information in regards to this because this is a huge topic, but please welcome JJ Reynolds to the show. Oh my goodness, JJ, I'm so happy to have you here.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. It's going to be a blast, I promise.
It is. It is. I've got so many questions for you already around what you do, what you've done, because I know it's been a journey for you to get to this point, right? And in fact, on that point, I would love for you to share with our audience today a little bit about what that journey looked like, because we all know it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah, definitely. I started my journey in the marketing space back creating videos. So I made a lot of videos for different brands and companies, kind of promotional style. This was back when Facebook was early days, and there was a lot of, it was very easy to spend money and make a lot of money on Facebook without really thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I started making videos and realized that no one knew what to do with these videos. I was out in the Napa Valley, and a lot of wineries was what I was making videos for. And then you deliver this video and they put it on like their about page of like the site. And you're like, well, I got like 6 views in like 6 months. So that was not the best. And then I realized we could put this thing on Facebook. And then Facebook had this boost button that was the big blue boost button when they first introduced it. You'd push that and I'm like, wow, for $10, we could reach 1,000 people or 10,000 people back then.
Mm-hmm.
Realized no one knew what to do with this. Like, okay, impressions don't make money.
Right.
So started going on this path of like, okay, let's go into ads now to understand how these ads work. And then realized that most people don't even understand how ads work from a business owner's perspective, right? They're like, okay, I spend money on this agency. Your retainer is like $10,000, and then I spend $20,000 a month. So I'm $30,000 in, and you're saying this ROAS thing is 6.2, but I don't understand what that means because I don't have 6.2 times that in my bank account. And this kind of just progressed and basically ended up where all the business owners that I was working with as like kind of a contractor really enjoyed the way that we told the story around the data. So building out reporting and structures of how that reporting plays into what action they take. And it ended up being like where they're like, hey, can we just have you do this thing? And slowly develop more and more. And now we have a whole team that's what we do is we work with your team to manage your data and build out actionable reporting.
Okay. Oh my goodness. So that all sounds really technical. Sounds great, but it sounds technical, right? Now, you are the expert. You and your team are an expert around this, but tell us a little bit. I mean, when you look at data, first of all, where are you looking? What are you looking at? Because as business owners, I know me myself, all I'm doing is looking at my bank account, right?
Yes.
So where do you start with all of this?
Yeah. So if you like really want to get a true understanding of where you are, like you have to start looking at the trends and patterns at the highest level you can, right? If you just look at your bank account, for example, you only know the outcome. Like, you know, money was deposited, but you don't know why or how, right?
Okay.
And so people often forget about the 97% of people who never buy from you on your website.
Right.
And so what you want to start doing is looking at like, okay, how many people saw the thing that I was offering? If you're selling $100 product, or if you're selling, or you have a lead magnet, how many people even saw that thing? And then you can kind of dive into like how many people filled it out, how many people then received your emails. And you end up with this kind of like giant funnel, for lack of a better term, of like the people who had exposure to you all the way down to people who gave you money. And then you want to be able to say, where did they come from? And that helps inform your journey of what do I do now, as opposed to just saying, oh, I don't have enough money this month.
Okay, I see. So when you're looking at analytics, right? I got to tell you, like, I'm really, really bad at this myself, right? Really bad at this. So, when are you looking at analytics? What kind of things are you looking at, and where are you looking for the analytics? Are you looking on social media? Are you looking at email marketing? Are you looking at websites? Like, where do you even start around that?
Yeah, the goal is that we can look at everything.
Mm.
We are good at that. Like that's what people hire us for, is like we can look at kind of pull everything into one location for you.
Ah,
But I would say if you're listening and you want to start, is
yes.
start with something simple. But I say that very loosely. I say simple very loosely. So don't be like, oh my goodness, that's not simple. But something like Google Analytics, where you can say, okay, I put this script on the site and I know how many page views saw my opt-in or my page views joined our newsletter, etc.
Mm.
And you'll start to get more and more advanced on that. But the thing that people really get sucked into is like looking at these vanity metrics that like don't mean anything. And
Okay.
so how you can avoid that, which I think like is the biggest crux, like the biggest thing is like whatever you do, whatever question you ask, know what you're going to do with the answer to that question. And over time, you'll have a better question and a better action to take. So if I say, hey, how many people saw my Facebook posts? If I tell you five or 5,000, does that make a difference to you? And you're like, I have no idea what to do. Well,
Yes. Okay.
there's a
I
problem.
hear you because yeah, especially on social media. So when you said vanity metrics, I'm like, yeah, everyone wants all those likes and comments and hearts and faces and all those kind of things, right? But that doesn't mean a thing, right? It doesn't actually put money in your bank account. And it's really funny. I was having a conversation with someone earlier today when we were talking about the metrics for podcast, right? And people are like, I've got $100,000. I've got 500,000 downloads. I'm like, great. How many of them do you actually know and are in your email list? I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, right, there could be bots, there could be anything, right? Like those metrics doesn't mean a thing. And I know people are thinking, oh my goodness, like everyone counts on those metrics to see how well your podcast is doing. But we got to be careful and be mindful exactly what you're saying at what kind of metrics we're looking at, where we actually seeing the results and what's actually going to be putting money in our bank account.
Yeah, exactly. And you want to be able to like forecast out like higher up. So like oftentimes you start close to the dollar, right? Like you say, how many sales did we have today? Cool. Now we've got a trend of like, okay, we're doing 10 sales a day, 100 sales a day, 1,000 sales a day. And then it's cool, cool, cool. But then one day you only have five sales and you're like, uh-oh,
Yeah.
now what? Now what do we do? And if you don't know like the step above that, well, now you got to go investigate,
Mm,
right? And so what you want to do is like try and build this like what we do with our clients is we build a system to say, okay, here's the thing that you care about, right? Money in the bank.
right.
Above that is people who viewed your sales page, right? Above that is number of people who generated a lead on your website, right? Who became a lead.
Right.
Above that is people who saw your lead magnet. Above that is site visitors. And then you can kind of have this framework of saying, okay, we only had five sales. The problem is not that we changed the sales page. The problem is that we only had 100 people see the sales page and that our email is not performing as well as it used to. So we
Mm,
have to reconfigure why are not people not clicking on our email? Oh, hey, we're not generating as many leads as we used to our email list. And so now it's not like, oh, hey, we don't have $5, like we only got five sales. It's like, I can tell you tomorrow we're going to only have five sales because all of these fall off like a waterfall of metrics, for example.
right. Oh my God. Okay. So I know a lot of my audience are probably thinking, okay, so if you're getting started in this, right, where should your priority or focus lie? Should it be on your website? Should it, where do we look for the matrix first? What's more important?
Yeah. So start at the bottom, right? So you can look at like I'm a big fan of Google Analytics just because it's free and you can
Right.
then customize it, right? A lot of tools that are paid will like kind of give you what you want, or give you what they think you want,
Mm,
right? Whereas
okay.
Google Analytics is like kind of an open box. You can kind of customize it how you'd like to.
Interesting.
You don't have to use Google Analytics. You can use whatever you want, but start with saying, okay, I know nothing, JJ. What do I do?
Right.
Start with saying, okay, somehow we need to see how many people see the thing you're selling. Like
Mm,
start with that. Like if you have a sales page, if you have if you're an e-commerce site and you have products, how many people see those things?
mm,
Then once you have that number, right? You have that many people number, and then you're gonna go to your bank account or your Stripe or wherever else. How many people bought that thing?
right. Yeah.
Now you've got like a conversion rate that you can do really easily, right? People who saw the
Mhm.
thing divided by people who bought the thing. And then you're going to start drilling down into that. And if the numbers aren't what you want, you then start saying, I'm going to ask a better question. How many people like were on the page for 30 seconds, right?
Okay.
Um, and if I say, hey, like nobody, well, what do I do with that information is now the next question that you have. And
Mhm.
so you're just going to have this thing of like, let's start simple. How will saw the page? How will blah, right? If it's not what you desired, like whatever that might be, then you have to
Yeah.
ask another question. And that next question is where you really start to get into the like actionability of taking an action is okay, like why is this the case? And then you keep layering on questions that allow you to act and say, okay, we need to go make another video because no one's watching our video on the sales page. We need to do a
Ah,
new photo shoot because no one's actually clicking through our carousels or like change the design. And so you start to have this frame of saying, this is where we are, this is where we want to go. Here's the conversion rate, for example, on a page, and here's how we can improve that.
okay. Now, having a website, creating a website, and getting it all going, all good. But what is the best way to actually get traffic to your website then?
Yeah, like I think that's where you have to decide what type of business that you really are.
Okay.
Um, so there's only like, I don't know, three or four types of traffic, right, in the world. There's
Okay.
organic traffic,
Mhm.
which is usually from like search, organic search. And in that bucket of organic, you've got organic search, organic social, organic kind of like PR for lack of better terms.
Mhm.
That's one, right? We got paid traffic, and that could be paid search, that could be paid social, that could be paid. Just take all the same things that you just took with organic and add paid to it where you're paying
Right.
for it.
Mhm.
Same exact things. And then I think the third one is affiliate traffic, right? Where you kind of have someone else that you're paying on a kind of result basis, right? So if you've got those kind of three sources, decide how you want to build, right? If you have cash, like run ads. If you don't, like you might have to run for a longer play. But like the goal of the business, depending on what you're doing, is going to be focusing in on how do we generate consistent traffic that can turn into consistent leads or consistent sales at a profit margin that you can maintain. So some businesses that are e-commerce have a higher cost of goods. If you're a digital business where you sell like courses and things, your costs are pretty static. It's like a payment processing fee plus like fulfillment is like maybe 5%. And so you have 95% margin, so you can spend a lot more money on ads.
I
Um,
love that. I love that. Okay, now because you are a great big Google Analytics expert, right? What is the best way? Because now I want to talk about SEO,
yeah.
right? And get SEO up, especially for your website and all of that good stuff. A lot of people don't know much about it. I'm not an expert around it, but I know it's a big deal, especially when it comes into podcasting and it can rank you up higher on Google, and all that good stuff. What is the best way to actually get better ranking for your website, SEO, and so you are more visible on Google when people type in your business or your name or whatever that might be?
Yeah, so we're not like an SEO agency by any means, but we work with a lot of clients who do a lot of SEO work.
Right.
So take what I'm like giving you with a grain of salt because I am not by any means an SEO like guru or like even like an agency. We don't do that.
Mhm.
But what I've noticed is kind of this pairing of making sure you have technical SEO, which is like managing all the like all the technical aspects of the page, like hrefs and meta descriptions and meta tags and everything else.
Yeah.
That's kind of one step. And then the other is creating content that people are looking for.
Mm,
And so like if you can pair those two together, like it seems to be that that's the winning combination. And then if you can sprinkle on something that's link worthy, that really is where you get to have add the extra spice. If someone really wants to link to your thing because you made a really cool tool or made
yeah.
a really cool useful article, those inbound links seem to help a lot. So like I'd say that's like my take on it. Um, That's what we do. Like we generate, I don't know, 10,000-ish people per month to our site organically. So
Nice.
that's not
Oh,
like a massive
fantastic.
amount by any means, but like it works.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And so, what are some of the common mistakes or challenges, frustrations that clients come to you for to help them out?
Oh yeah, people come to us and they're like, I don't know what's happening. And that's like honestly, and that's okay. Like if you're honest and say, I
Hmm.
don't know what's happening, here's our problem, like we can really help. Because we can hone in exactly like let's build a plan to make this super actionable for how you want to look at data. And I always joke there's like two types of people in the world. There's the one type of person who looks at the Matrix, like the movie where like you have code and you see like black and green and you're just like, oh, let me go do this thing. And then there's the other type of person who wants the big bubble Sesame Street letters where it's like 1, 2, 3. And both types of people will have really successful businesses. Like you don't
Mm,
have to be like a super numbers person, but like you have to recognize that you might not be that person, and then you come work with someone like us where it's like, hey, I just really need to have this simple funnel breakdown or this simple like velocity of return of how fast our leads turning into dollars, kind of all that type of thing. So um that's in general like what I'd kind of like how we help
yeah.
people is we say you don't know where you are, that's okay. But let's build a plan and like make this super helpful that you and your team can understand where you are and where you're trying to go.
I love it because it sounds like you customize it to each one of your individual clients. It's not one size fits all. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. It's totally custom in the sense that like we talk with you and say, how do you view this? And we try to layer in our strategy of like this is how you should view it. But
Uh,
like we want to meet you where you are and not just throw data at someone and shove it
yeah.
down their throat and say, you have to do it this way, because there are multiple ways to get there. Oh, if anyone wants to, like visionlabs.com/demo, and like
Mhm.
it's our actual agency's data. Like that's like our real
Ooh.
data from our site. It's just Google Analytics, but like it's just an example of like, hey, this can be more manageable from a person perspective.
Oh, I love that. Okay, we'll definitely have to go and check that out. Can you repeat the domain again?
Yeah, visionlabs.com. So it's visionlabs.com/demo, DEMO. And that will just take you to a dashboard that we've built that is our data from our agency that like we just kind of share just because like we want to.
Absolutely. Love that. Okay, awesome. So when it comes to, I guess, your clients and the results they get, I would love for you to share some of the results you've got for your clients. Like, what problem did they come to you for, and how did you actually help them out? And then what was the result from that?
Yeah, absolutely. So most people come to us because they don't know what's happening. Like
Yeah.
that's the hard truth is they don't know what's happening. They either have been going really fast and woke up going 100 miles per hour and then did not realize how they got there. Where they either grew fast, they're maybe on the decline and they're like, I don't know why we're like declining. My bank account is going down, but my like social media person keeps saying that we're crushing it, right?
Oh.
Um, and so what we do is we basically come in and we do an audit and we say, this is where you are and this is where you need to go. Okay.
Mm,
From that point, we then can build that plan. Most people come to us with the problem of zero visibility. They don't know how or why they're generating sales. They might be using something like Facebook ads or things like that, but
right.
like just don't really understand the user journey like on their site and the user journey inside of their CRM for how people are becoming dollars. And so at the end of the day, we work with like companies for a long period of time. Like we have clients with us for years because we just manage all of this stuff for them and they love us for that. And so they start with zero insights, zero ideas, all these things. And then we help them get to asking better questions and be able to cut down the time from doing something and acting on it.
Mm,
So they can be like, oh, we're gonna try this new channel, or we're gonna do this big promotion, we're gonna do this big cross promotion with this affiliate marketer or social media influencer. Did it work? And then we can really dive in from like a direct response perspective of like, did this effort turn into dollars? And most of our clients really walk away with saying like, or walk with us in the fact that confident that they know what is happening, why it's happening, and how they can impact those numbers.
mm, interesting. Okay. And so Give me an example of maybe one or two of your clients where they got really awesome results with working with you.
Yeah, so we had a client that was doing like, I don't know, like $8 million a year. So like, I don't know, depending on your size, it could be big, it could be small. Like that's
Mhm.
a pretty sizable
Yeah.
thing. But like, so they're pretty like large there. But they were like a small team. Like they were a very small team. They had a higher cost of product. So it was like, again, like 10 people ish. And so what they did is that they came to us and they're like, we don't know which landing pages are turning into the most customers. Like
Ah.
where people are coming to, we don't fully understand. And so the problem was very technical. Like they had a big technical problem
Okay.
because of how their site was built and a bunch of other things. But
Mhm.
at the end of the day, we were able to say like, hey, these landing pages that you're sending traffic to, they
Yeah.
are converting, one's converting like double the rate of the others. Like,
Ooh.
and so they basically were able to double down on those specific landing pages and
Mhm.
then improve the journey of the others to then basically double the like efficiency of their media spend. And so it was really, really one of those things that like another tool wouldn't get you. It had to be on-site performance. And we were able to really help them double down on what is working and cut the fat of what wasn't working just from looking at landing pages. And a landing page for everyone who's like, what the heck is a landing page? Is where a user starts their journey. So like
Mhm.
that's like where someone starts the journey on their site. And that was like a bigger example, like $8 million. Everyone's like, might be like, wow, that's a lot. But we work with smaller companies and larger companies. Like we have companies doing like 1 million, and we have companies doing 100 million. So we have the whole gambit of like kind of ideas around what is and is not working.
Wow. Okay. So I'm got even more curious, right?
Yeah.
Because when people are first starting out the business, right, it's all about we've got to get the money in, we've got to get the money in, we've got to build, we've got to scale, right? So, at what point is it vital for a company, a business owner, to say, okay, we now need to look at the data, right? Because everyone is so on, we've got to make the money. If we don't make the money, the business isn't going to last.
Yeah. I would say once you have
Not
six to
800
eight.
million, not $800 million.
No, no, no. Once you have 6 to 8 team members, I would say.
Oh,
Like that's kind of what I would say is like you probably have like if you started out by yourself and then you hired people and then once you kind of have 6 to 8 people, you start to break down either from like a management perspective or from the ability to like iterate and the data keeps getting lost because Susan talks to Brian, who talks to Freddie, and then you're
right.
like, who owns this again? And I'd say like that's the minimum is like 6 to 8 team members, and like then beyond obviously more team members we can still help, but like that's where you like really can start to dive into that. Even as yourself, like a single person, um, like you can still like use this framework and kind of like talk through what question am I asking? How do I get that answer? How do I keep moving? But I'd say like 6 to 8 people is when you really need to start focusing on that.
Awesome, awesome. And so what I'm also picking up on that is when people come and speak with you, you know what questions to ask, and you're able to extract information from them that we as individuals, as business owners, don't really think about, right? So you're really able to get them outside the box. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. And like it's one of those things where you don't know what questions you don't know, like what you don't know what information you don't know, and we try to guide you and like say, hey, like here's a question. What about what could a better question look like? And like
Mm.
how do you keep asking better and better and better questions?
I love that. I love that. And you know what, JJ, you've given so many goals in such a short amount of time. I know at this point people are thinking, oh my goodness, I think I need to speak with JJ. How do I connect with him? So where can they go to actually reach out to you?
Yeah, so visionlabs.com is like that's our site. You can go there, fill out a contact form, book a call. I'll be on that call and say, hey, if you just want to chat, LinkedIn is where I go to. So just go to like LinkedIn and type in JJ Reynolds. I'm one of the first ones there. And we can connect there and say hey and holler back at each other. So yeah, visionlabs.com or JJ Reynolds on any of the kind of social media platforms. LinkedIn is where I usually am.
Oh, I love that, guys. If you've been listening to this episode and you are ready to look at the analytics and take your business to a whole different level, go ahead, reach out to JJ. He's going to be able to help you. He's going to be able to extract information from you and really get you thinking outside your box so you can start scaling your business even further. JJ, thank you so much for coming onto the show. Like I said, so many golden nuggets in such a short amount of time. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks for listening to Make Your Mark podcast at www.makeyourmarkpodcast.com. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get this and every other episode that comes out. We have lots of great stuff coming, so make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss it. And thank you in advance for all the reviews and comments. I appreciate it so much. And I look forward to serving you in next week's episode.